Hark unto thee all. Welcome to the Rockin' Beard podcast. Join us today as we go on a magical quest through the Shin's new album, Heartworms. I am Greg Hamilton.
And here yonder on the other side of the couch sitteth Sir HSR. And yeah, I don't know how to maintain that.
Yeah, no, that wasn't supposed to go that long.
But, what's up, everybody? We're very happy to have you all back. Greg decided this was the album we were doing. So,
Oh yeah, I was really excited to do this. I've been waiting for this one to come out since episode 1.
So why don't you tell us about your experiences with the Shins?
Well, the Shins is, according to Wikipedia, Shins is a band formed in 1996 by their lead singer, who is pretty much the golden boy of the entire band. According to Wikipedia, the Shins is a band started by one James Mercer in 1996.
Okay.
They went on to release a number of albums until 2007, at which point apparently Mercer separated from the rest of the band and took it with him.
Okay, so he just kind of owns the name, and so is it just like the people behind him is whatever kind of a cover band that happens to be there, or is it like
I'm not entirely sure. I mean, he's done 2 studio albums. It's ever since he signed with Columbia Records. He did 2 studio albums.
Okay, I know he was the producer on this Heartworms album, so he definitely has some sway. Those of you out there watching this that are actual Shins fans, if you can let us know what's up with that, we would appreciate the knowledge.
Yeah, I don't know if it's like a 9 Inch Nails kind of situation where Trent Reznor really is just 9 Inch Nails, but when he needs other people to play instruments when they do
Like,
concerts
when
and
they
stuff,
go on tour.
is it a situation like that, or was it an actual band that like?
So
you know,
you've heard of them before this review? Like,
oh, I have. I've listened to the stuff. I don't know, my early 20s,
Okay.
Shin started getting popular, and yeah, it's definitely something we heard growing up on the local rock radio stations.
I'm not gonna lie, I didn't know who they were. I knew they had an album coming out because I've been watching like the releases of albums, but it was just a name on the paper to me. And then Greg said we should do it, so I said okay.
Oh yeah,
And,
when
that's about my whole history of the Shins. It's been about one day. I really just did the review today. So it's almost the first impressions for me. Don't be too harsh. I'm gonna listen to it again though, because again, it's a little out of the league of the music I'm normally inclined to like jumping on, but that's okay because I'm starting to appreciate it more, and I think I was able to find quite a bit to say in light of that experience.
yeah, the Shins really exploded sometime in the early 2000s. I believe Zach Braff made a movie. Here it says the movie is Garden State. I'm not sure if it's the same one.
That's the one. It's the Zach Braff movie.
Yeah,
that came out,
well,
Natalie Portman.
Yeah, there were multiple Shin songs in the movie itself and on the soundtrack. But what is it? New Slang? Yeah, New Slang fucking
Okay.
exploded.
I've never heard it still. At that point, I was really into. Well, I don't even know if I was in high. I think I just finished high school. I was in a lot more hip hop, and I wasn't really ready to be a hipster at that point of my life. So it kind of went over my head. What did you think of the title of this album, Heartworms?
I don't know. I didn't really know what to think of it. The Shins have always been kind of awkward and weird.
Okay.
Their album designs are also awkward and weird. They're kind of I don't know. I don't want to say retro, but they have like a hand-drawn quality to them, like a hippie kind of, a hipster kind of quality.
Like looking at this design here, it's definitely more like somebody sat there and painted this, or actually did it by hand as opposed to it being a proper animation. It's cool. I thought like when I heard Heartworms, what I pictured was like, and I think it kind of came true a bit, but a guy who was heartbroken and looked at love like this infectious worm-like disease that was infesting him. And based on some of the subject matter, it might be something like that. That's what I took from it at least. And then you look at the cover and it's got all the flowers and it's got that skull on it. And it's definitely got this kind of edgy romanticism associated with
Yeah,
the artwork.
it's definitely on the lighter side of the rock scale. It's not overkill, that's for sure.
No, not at all. Overkill didn't have flowers next to its kind of skull-like materials.
But if you're in the mood for something that's just really easy to listen to and something that's really fun and at times really catchy and can catch you, can hit you right in the feels, if the time is right.
No,
that's what the Shins are really about, man.
So let's do it, man.
Go listen to New Slang. If you've never heard this song, you'll melt for it, dude.
You know what I'll do? I'm gonna link the New Slang video, or if there's not, I'll bonus version of
Oh,
it.
there's definitely a video
in the description below. But for now, let's get into Heartworms. So the first song on this album is called, the first single on this album is named. This was a really fucking cool song.
Yeah, I liked it as well.
It opens the album in a really upbeat kind of strong way. But the most striking thing, before we talk about the music, is such a positive feminist message of like women. There are a lot of labels that get used to describe what you're supposed to be, but like, are you really satisfied with this? Are you doing what you want? And then in the outro goes as far as to call all these stupid names, like directly saying like they're not, something you have to follow. And I like what he did with it. It wasn't like overbearing. It wasn't judgmental. It wasn't any of the aggressiveness you come to associate with the idea of feminism. It was just, hey, you can do more than the prescribed paths that you believe you have to follow, while this really poppy, happy song comes out, no?
Yeah, it really opened up the album for me. It's the kind of stuff you come to expect from the Shins. You really enjoy those upbeat messages, just with his voice that sounds sad. Just mixing with the happy music. It works really well. You guys have heard me talk about that. Like, you get the sad happy and the happy sad together, and it's just a perfect combination. It's exactly what you want to see from the Shins. The song itself it was entertaining. I really enjoyed listening to it. Strong feminist. I don't really concentrate on lyrics too much, but if there's a strong message,
like a really good
woman positive message, then
it's got like
all
a good,
power
like,
to him.
You could just picture it, kind of strummy feel to it. With the
Yeah. They definitely have influence from the Beatles.
You can see this being played around like a campfire by some guy trying to mac on some girl. Hey, I know that new Shins joint name for you. And he starts playing it and singing it in some acoustic knockoff version. I could picture that with actually a lot of the songs on this album. It's smooth. And for like the slower side of music, it really has a lot of layers and power behind it to really engage me. I gave this an 8 on 10. I thought it was a powerful opener. I thought it was really interesting. And it got me kind of pumped to hear what was going to come next.
Well, this is definitely one of my favorite songs off the album. Right off the top, 9. It's great. And the unit of measurement that we will be using this week, in case you were wondering.
I am definitely wondering.
We will be using tibias.
Tibias, eh?
That's right.
So
otherwise known as the shin bone.
Before we proceed, though, this was a single. It did have a video. And so we watched this video. My first thoughts were it was super colorful.
Oh, definitely.
And it had these two ladies skateboarding around town, doing cool skateboard stuff.
Yeah.
Awesome cuts of the production and such, but it was just kind of like a cheaply made video in terms of actors and extras, but a lot was done with the little they had. A lot of little animations were added in.
Yeah, I don't know about you guys. Watching skateboarding is always entertaining. Watching BMXing, watching dirt biking, anything like that on the TV, just running in the background, no sound. That's always just great, just to draw your attention and be interesting and neat. So yeah, those make great videos. Make great music videos.
I have to say, like, I've seen a lot of shit videos come out in the last 3-4 months, and this is one of the most visually interesting videos. And actually, if I think about it, I could just watch this muted and just watch the video transpire without even hearing the song.
I mean,
so good on you.
I can't count the amount of bars I've been to in my early 20s where all they had playing on the screens in the background was just skateboard videos.
All right, Greg. Let us talk about the second track on the album, which is titled "Painting a Hole."
Yeah, so painting a hole. Aside from being the preferred hobby of certain coyotes, I won't mention. It's a fantastic song. I really enjoyed it. I was happy. I was really happy to do this album because Holden had never heard the Shins before.
No.
And so I being a band that I actually really enjoy listening to, it's fun to always share that with someone, to show someone new something that they've been missing. Let's hear you go first on this one.
Okay, I have almost zero expectations coming into this. I had very little time to research them, so I just hit play and went with it. My first thoughts were, this is some psychedelic shit, right? And not like weird, acidy, trippy shit, but more like it just kind of got you kind of in this cool, ethereal place, honestly. The way the bass and the guitars meshed together, this drum beat was kind of feel to it. And it was really nice. He croons over the music in this really abstract way where sometimes his voice just doesn't do it for me. There's a couple of songs like that, but here it fits perfectly. And my only criticism is that the chorus, it just blends into the background. Like I can't I only realize it's the chorus halfway through, and that's my only real criticism. It still is a great track. I give it an 8 on 10. I think it's really something that might grow on me more as I hear it, but something about the hook bothered me, more the lack thereof.
Yeah, I definitely see what you're talking about in the chorus. It feels like the chorus is just over so soon. It's not. It's like
And like
it's like. Boop, boop,
and I noticed it like at the very end of it. There's such a subtle change in the music. I guess that's what I would have hoped for, is maybe a little more of an elaborate distraction from the rest of this great music, something else to add to it.
Yeah, well, one of the things about the Shins is you know, as far as the music that we're going to review on this, we're going to be doing a lot of rock. There's probably going to be we've already done emo. There's going to be some punk, some metal. So sometimes there are bands that can get away with playing 4 chords or playing like the same 8 chords over again, you know. But this is not one of those bands where this is going to happen. That's never going to happen on a Shins album. There's always so much happening, but it all blends together perfectly. It's a combination of instruments. It's a combination of synth. It's a combination of playing with sound. And I know you guys are going to say, "Oh, Greg, but you hate synth." No. When a band that always uses synth continues to use synth and starts using, that kind of shit in new ways, and ways that are slightly different from what you're used to, but it's still of the nature of that band. So if I was to hear, let's say, just laser sounds coming out of a fucking Nirvana song, that would be a little weird. But hear the Shins, hear laser sounds in a Shins song, it doesn't fucking bother anybody. That's what you want. It's what you're acclimatized to.
Still, when Greg brought up the Nirvana lasers thing the last time, I thought it would be a cool idea. I hear it again. It sounds like an even better idea. Somebody should do that just so I can hear it. He might find it weird, but I like weird. And because I like weird, it kind of got me excited for how different this song was. It really, it caught me left field. The first song got me kind of excited because it was like, this is cool. And then this hit, you can tell it's the same band. You can tell it's the same sound, but it's so different. I don't know. Did you give a grade on this?
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and give this another 9er.
Perfect. So do you want to introduce to us the third song?
Oh, okay. They are delicious. They're little gummies. And they taste very, very nice. Cherry Hearts. Don't you ever come down from the big rock I found you climb, stowing your diamonds away.
Dude, this song had an amazing start.
Lasers.
It just came in all weird and shit, and it hit me in such a good way.
You got hit by lasers.
And then lyrically, it shows the beginnings of this obsession that he has for women.
Didn't listen to the lyrics, but lasers.
So it's all about how he wants to get the affection of this girl that he met one time, and she kissed him, and now he's obsessed with her, but she's out of his league, and he can't get her, and he's self-depreciating type bullshit. And Cherry Hearts, I guess, is the euphemism for that. And I have to say, the way he wrote it was cool because it didn't come off in your overall overbearing way. It was almost relatable. If you've ever actually dated some girl or made out with some chick that you really wanted, and you had that one-off moment, and then you just couldn't get her and you're just obsessed over her, it's kind of relatable. I got where he's coming from. The sound was so interesting. It's the best way to describe a lot of this album. It's not good
they
or
definitely
bad. It's interesting.
I mean, if you're a fan, I forget what year it was, but Beck had those few albums that were just full of electronic you know what I mean? If you're a fan of that phase of Beck, your odds are you're gonna love everything the Shins ever did. Maybe not so much the early stuff, because the early stuff tended to be more instrumenty.
So back when it was a band before he hijacked the name.
I suppose so, if that's in fact what happened.
So,
but that's a story that we saw on Wikipedia, and that hit us.
Which means if it's not true, we're just saying this is what we read on Wiki. We're not going deeper.
Yeah, we're not going to speculate as to the motivations or arrangements that were made because it's not our place.
So did you like the lasers though?
Lasers. This song was fucking awesome. I don't know. I have a hard time not loving almost all the songs on this album. I'm going to go ahead and give this one another 9.
I gave this one my first 9. It was better than the last two. The construction was proper. His songwriting came in. It was amazing. It wasn't perfect. There's something about his voice that's a little acquired tasty, but otherwise it's great.
Yeah, it's his voice that really does it. He just has like this. I've described this before. Like, Radiohead, he has that sad voice, but it's always to happy music.
Is this a trend in your interests, eh?
Yeah, I think so. I think that definitely stands out to me. That kind of like happy, sad, like, so you get the REM type. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, I do. I appreciate it. It's a hard effect to pull off, and it's good for a certain type of morning for me. And this is very much morning music. I couldn't listen to this at 9 p.m. at night. It's not really the right energy. But on my way to work, playing some Pokemon Go on the bus, depending on my mood, this exactly could be the soundtrack to a proper morning.
Oh, anyway. Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that if you're in the right mood, it can hit you right in the feels.
Right, and speaking of the feels, often when we're thinking of the feels, we like to go to a certain place called
Fantasy Island.
Your friends never thought that much of me. Now I wanna fall into something else. And all forgotten.
This song was very slower and mellower and calmer. It was well composed. Lyrically, it's about escapism, fundamentally using the metaphor of flying away to describe the different ways you want to escape from the different realities you're facing. A lot of songs have been written on that subject. I couldn't get behind this one as much as the previous three. I respect what it is, but this is, like, in terms of my appreciation for it, hard to listen to. But I like the way that it built up. I like the fact that it started off with this slow, gradual feeling, and then the drums kick in after the second verse comes in. And it does create a progressive experience. I felt it was very epic would be the right word to describe this song, weirdly enough. And I imagine that Traffic and this song would go great. It's got this serene feel that will keep you calm and almost appreciate the inches that you gain with each little car moving forward.
Well, I can definitely say that I enjoyed this song.
Okay.
It definitely reminded me of classic Shins, the kind of stuff you'd heard on the earlier albums, circa early 2000s. That being said, this was a very fluffy song. You know what I mean?
No,
fluffy.
I did
it's
not
catchy.
rate it as high.
It's just I still love the album. I still love the other songs. I'm giving this one an 8. I'm just saying this one of all of them is kind of fluffy, and you definitely know it's going to be a single if it's not already a single.
It's not yet a single.
Yeah, I have a feeling it's going to be a single.
I don't know. They're already at 3 for the album. 1 just dropped.
Dude, they had 3 out, and the album came out last week. I mean, it's going to
true.
keep going for a couple.
It's
going to be 1 or 2 more.
7. I feel like it's really good for what it is, but it isn't as substantial or interesting as the previous work, and it was kind of hard to get behind. I don't mean to sound lazy about it. It was just another song about escapism.
Hey, 7 is not a horrible score either. So
No, it's not bad. It's just it almost like once you're almost setting like a plateau at the 8s and stuff. Once you hit a 7, you're like, wow, I just tarnished what otherwise would have been a great review, you know?
Yeah.
So either way, the next song on the album is in fact a single. It was released very recently.
It's a place in Skyrim, I'm assuming.
It's not actually, but it's called Mildenhall.
Then a kid in class passed me a tape, an invitation.
So Mildenhall, or however it is a Royal Air Force base of the British Army folks near the fine town of Suffolk, which gave us Ed Sheeran. And so we can't really escape Ed Sheeran after that review that we did.
Oh my God! Why is it the band why is the worst review we've ever given, and like the worst episode we've ever filmed,
we
the
admit
most
that
popular,
openly.
the worst.
Well, we can't say
and
it's
the most
popular because it's getting dislikes, so it's just getting more views than anything else.
Yeah, it's getting it was 250 last time I checked, and that's like our highest viewed video on the whole fucking channel.
Views, 7 dislikes.
Yeah.
But we learned from it, and that's why we're here. But yeah, no, Suffolk came up, and I got that Ed Sheeran episode.
God, I hope he never watches that episode. He's gonna kill us. You realize
Absolutely.
that?
But thankfully, this is not Ed Sheeran. This was a song where it kind of felt a little Ed Sheeran-y, though. He kind of went through the story of his life in his hometown and moving to this military base, missing being in the States and some skateboarding stuff. And look, it's really, to me, this was fluffy. This was fluffier than the last song. It was nice. Nice is a good word to describe it, but I often don't go to music for nice. And I felt it was just a lot of nostalgia, very simple, Beatles-esque, I admit.
Oh yeah, definitely. There are heavy Beatles influences when it comes to the Shin.
I've never been a huge Beatles fan. Don't hate me, internet. But so in light of that, it was hard to get behind this. I gave this a 6 on 10. I recognize it's well composed for what it is. It's not a poorly written song. I just find it highly uninteresting.
Well, it is extremely folky. I'm not a huge fan of folk music per se, but it is folky. It's just kind of like a guitar chords and singing away. As far as the lyrics, once again, I'm Greg Hamilton. I don't pay attention to lyrics. I just compare things to other things. That's his job. He looks at the lyrics, and I'm just listening to the music and seeing if it reminds me of what it's supposed to be. And the Shin's like he's always been known for kind of doing his own thing, man. Like,
look, I appreciate the fact that it again is a substantially distinct sound. So to give it credit, as you pointed out, there's no blender effect happening here.
This
completely a blender effect. So that you guys know is when everything kind of sounds the same for a few songs in a row. So just like a blender being meshed up, and that isn't happening, which is impressive. Again, it's almost like after reviewing so many albums, when somebody doesn't do that, it's really worth pointing out that they have diversity to their sound. And I always appreciate it when you can experiment but retain your core sound, which he's done. I just, it's a little slow and nice and happy. Like, this is good. You're by the fire, on a beach, overnight party, you're 19. And, like, that's how I feel when I listen to this. And I suppose it's not really my cup of tea, so it was hard to, get into it.
Yeah, I'm giving this one a 7. Definitely has, you feel a little bit of that Beach Boys feel as well that the Shins has had even on earlier albums. But at the same time, it's a little too simple and doesn't really fit the new sound that they're kind of going for on the album as a whole.
Nah, but you know what was a hypertrack that I liked a lot more?
What was that?
Rubber Ballz. This is like another Beatles jam, straight up. But this is a good Beatles jam that they did, man. The da-da kind of shit where you like instantly you almost find yourself singing along.
Oh yeah, it's like
immediately.
It just reminds you of, I don't know, like some kind of 50s or 60s like commercial, but with that just really upbeat ba-da, ba-da.
And then like adds this modern sound. I mean, it's got a story to this song. So he meets this girl, he fucks her, and she's crazy, won't leave his bed. This, that, the next thing. Another obsessively weird girl song. My favorite lyric is when he's like, "Man, and I should have fucked your sister instead." I literally laughed, man. It was just, look, it was so fucking abrupt and funny.
I didn't hear that at all until now.
And he kind of has this, like, he's kind of spinning this player-esque life, right? So for a couple of years in my adult, in my 20s, I decided to be a player and go after that life. I never lied to anyone, and it's surprising how far you can go with the truth. And I kind of got a little bit of the sentiment. You move past it, but while you're in the middle of that, it does turn into this like mesh of like it's almost like you can't get out of your bed. I appreciated the level of honesty that came in this song. It also sounded great. It sounded so happy.
I was just extremely satisfied with the Beatlesque sound. Once again, you get that old time like, folky 60s, 70s kind of. I don't know who's the band I'm looking for. I know the Beatles are in there, but there's something else about this song. This sounds like
the Monkees or something. Like
no,
that?
the Monkees wasn't a real band.
No,
that was a TV show about a fictional band.
I didn't know that.
The Monkees weren't real. Just like the monkey in Chris's room in Family Guy.
No, but that guy's a cool monkey. But I have no idea. I'm not that big on the 60s music, but I really like this song. It wrapped me right back up.
Oh, yeah.
I gave this an 8 because, again, there's not much wrong with it. It's not like next level. It's a little bit of like you got to be in a silly mood to vibe to this, but it's like this album, the way it flows, the song placements so far are a really good way to keep me engaged, and this part of the journey was quite pleasant.
No, this I forget the guy's name, the lead singer. What was it? But this is like right up his alley. This is his voice, along with music like this. just that total upbeat sound, that
And you gotta
even that nostalgic, you know.
And it's like, it's not even like it's faster than the previous couple of songs where I was having a bit of trouble with it. It's just that the way he chose his chords and stuff was way smarter to achieve the effect with less. And I got to give it the props. What did you give it?
Oh, I give this one an 8. This is a great song. I really enjoyed this.
Awesome. So do you know what the next one is called, Greg?
Is it a million?
No.
Is it 6 million?
No.
Is it 6.8 million?
No, we gotta go a little down, sir. It's a $500,000.
I make myself a promise. Don't break it every night. I'm feeling loose and life don't make no sense.
I fucking love this track. This is my favorite song on the album. Putting it out here. Lyrically, it's cool. It's like kind of got this feel of like, you know, how impossible life can be, but still going for it, and all the emotions and shit that come with that. But really, the way he delivered this was nothing other than a working man's version of the Orwells, and it gave me a very similar feel to their whole album. But the lyrics weren't so fucked up. It was like I understood a lot of their lyrics. In fact, this whole album, I could relate to these songs. They weren't like for people that were fucking broken down on heroin and shit, you know, and really needed to be there.
I'm really excited about this song because it definitely had that like there was an 80s vibe to it. Like, I don't know, I kind of heard like some fucking, God, what am I thinking? Like maybe a little Depeche Mode or like, speaking of Depeche Mode, they also have a new thing. Yeah, a new album came out, so we'll probably review that sometime soon.
Definitely look into that. But I think it had a really great energy. It had an anthem-esque feel to it. It was
for sure.
Really full sounding. And you know how some bands are really about the minimalist, whatever. He's not like that. He tries to find as much as he can do to enhance the sounds in the right way to really captivate you. There was nothing wrong with this. I give this a 10.
No, there is definitely progression throughout it's not, you're not listening to verse, chorus. You are listening to a constant build throughout the entire song, and each part surprises you, and it goes up a little higher. And whenever if you're emotionally invested in a song while you're listening to it, okay, and you think that, okay, it's about to go down, it just kicks it even higher. It's just like, that's how it gets you, man. That's how it gets you. That's how
it's just the best song on the album to me.
Oh yeah, I 10.
It is
10, double 10. That's an entire 10 people's worth of tibias right there.
And I plus this shit on Spotify before it was done. I got hooked and I was quite happy. If for no other reason, hearing this song made this entire album review and discovering who the Shins were completely worth it for me.
Oh yeah, along with what was it, Song 1, and
for me the Cherry Hearts was pretty good.
Fantasy Island, all
right,
those are fantastic songs.
The next song is actually a single off the album that also had a video. It's called Dead Alive.
Cool song. It was just another fantastic throwback to the 60s, the Beatles era. It was fantastic. Loved every second of it. I have nothing critical to say about this song.
I did not like it quite as much. Maybe it's because, I found his voice was kind of hidden inside of the mix a bit, right? So it's like, whereas in a lot of the other songs, his lyricism and stuff and his enunciation was super clear, he was kind of like another instrument in the song, and he almost felt like Drake does when Drake raps on a song, and you kind of blur him out and it just becomes another part of it. You're not really paying attention to what he said. Yeah, no, I'm going to call that the Drake effect, because this is something we discovered while reviewing Drake. So, yes, this is how I felt on this song. I'm not a huge fan of that 60s feel they're drawing influence from. It's well done. I was surprised by its choice as the lead single, but the music video was really cool. I liked the video. That was nice.
Oh, the video was fantastic. It was entertaining. Once again, a trip back in time. It's like watching video acid, I guess. It's like definitely a trip to somewhere.
And then like he zooms in and he's got like fingerboards going like that, and you saw a little clip of
little
it right
skeletons
before.
like you'd see in like an old animation, like an old stop motion from maybe the late 70s, early 80s, something like that. But it's really fun to watch. It's goofy, it's silly, and it's
It's totally one of those videos, again, that you can hit mute, watch the video, just the video, and get a high level of appreciation. If nothing else, these guys may have made some of the best music videos I've seen in a decade.
Yeah,
it was really, really impressive.
The song on the album would represent the Shins' classic sound. This would have to be the one that does it the best. This is exactly the kind of stuff that really gets you. It got me anyway. Got me interested in the Shins.
Well,
like this kind of sound was it.
So let's say I'm a big fan of their newer sound a lot more than their classic sound. I had a lot of trouble with this one. I can appreciate what it was trying to do. It's just there were some better ass songs to me. Yeah, and I give this a 6. I could not really get into it.
Give it a 10.
Fuck, hey, Greg doesn't give out 10s.
It's the first this is the first album in the history of the show that got 2 10s.
But yeah, that just shows the difference in love of stuff. So anyway, the next song on the album is the title track, which is Heartworms.
Oh, my dog died from that.
You never call. Behind your symmetry lies a fundamental difference. There are those who own the minds and those who crawl.
Greg, tell us how you feel about the Heartworms.
Heartworms was a great song. Once again, you're listening to classic Shins, and every song on this album has stood out from the last. One of the things that we discovered early on, or that one of the terms we coined early on, is blender effect, which I think we've mentioned in every fucking episode. But there is none of this. The edge on this album is very minimal.
I didn't even notice that.
But
Outside of
not
the
even
cover.
beyond, like, it's so slight and not beyond what you'd come to expect from the Shins, which they are very hipstery and they have a very hipstery following, but the music is just so good that I don't give a flying donkey's balls.
Nah, this song was fucking great. I really liked it. It's back on to the talking about girls, but this one wasn't done in the same kind of creepy, obsessive way as the other obsessing about girl songs. This one had a crazy flow. This one was written with some of the best wordplay. The lyrics were delivered with super cool patterns that were not visible on the rest of the album. Like, this is the equivalent of him rapping fast compared to the rest of the songs, and it really caught me in a great way. It builds up beautifully with the music. It's another full experience, and I gave this shit a 9. It like lifted me right out of the funk of the last one, because again, it's drastically different and really fucking impressive.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go ahead. I'm gonna have to give this one a 9.
Yeah, no, don't have a lot to add. It's a really good song. So, yeah. Anything for you?
So now what?
I have this crazy idea. Somehow it comes to the end.
Yo, it's another one of these motherfuckers right here from the good old days with the lighters. Straight up, I fucking love this song again too. It was got this, to me, it had this hip hop drum feel, but delivered in a rock way. I got real into it. My head was bopping.
No, even just listening to it between cuts put us both in. I think it raised our moods just a little bit.
Yeah, no, honestly, it was hard to actually hit pause and come back to recording here. I wanted to keep listening. It hooks you in. It's an earworm, as the older folk would have called it.
Yeah. This would definitely go on my baby making mix if I had a baby making mix.
It's plussed on Spotify for me 100%, and I don't really remember what it's about. I just got fucking that into it. I got caught up in the experience, and sometimes that happens. Sometimes the sound is just so good it doesn't even matter what he's saying for a minute.
Yeah, it's an all around good, feel good song. It's
nice.
It's subtle, and yet it can hit you right in the feels at the same time.
I gave it a 9, man.
That's
it
a great
lifted
song.
Me right the fuck back up. I mean, this is a strong end so far. Like, I have to say, I'm flying high at this point on the album. I'm feeling really great. Only a couple songs I didn't really like, and again, not too much more to say because it was just another amazing trip to go on. This was a little more of the anthem-esque epic feel as opposed to maybe some of the softer stuff. A bit on the slower side still. I can't think of much else, do you?
Oh, I sincerely enjoy this song. This one definitely gets a plus. I gave this one a 9.
All right, so we got one more left to talk about, and this track has to do with The Fear.
A man could feel while his freedom rings.
Greg, do you know what this makes me feel like?
Imagine by John Lennon.
Yeah, this song is basically that, but with different lyrics and a different set of instruments.
Once again, it's just that Beatles feel. I know John Lennon did this. I don't know, post Beatles, without Beatles.
Yeah, it was,
Imagine,
I think, the
but
80s.
yeah, this
But
this definitely has that feel to it. You definitely you listen to it, and you'll know exactly what I'm
I
talking about.
fucking really like this song. It got me feeling right up there. This is another lighters up type song. And just to end this with such it addresses just the fear everyone feels with all the state of the world type stuff. The fact that fundamentally at the end of the day we're all kind of the same deep down. We all struggle, blah blah blah. And I like it when these artists are making these kinds of musics. And he didn't do it in a wishy-washy way. He kind of did it the way Bush did it on their song, and I appreciated it. I gave this a 10, man. It got me right there. It built up with me in such a great way. It's like 5 fucking minutes, and I didn't get bored at all. I thought it was one of the best songs. It's not my favorite. It's my second favorite.
Yeah. So once again, another perfect song by the Shins.
You felt the same?
No, I'm not tanning it, but it's
Okay.
it's fantastic. I 9'd it, but
No, I get
I
it.
can't
You can't give 10s to everything.
can't give 10s to everything. But,
like,
I've already give 2 10s on this album,
And this shit was like really, it was just so impressive. It was like the fact that you go through this whole trip and it ends in such this is a great example.
Yeah,
of
this is a good
melancholy-
closer.
That melancholy experience you were describing with his voice.
yeah. There's
He
definitely points to
subtly
this. I
comes
mean,
in.
there's definitely points to this song where you can sense like a little bit of Radiohead, maybe.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of feel, or like even Smashing Pumpkins,
Fair.
Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. They played a lot with alternate stuff aside from their just like their guitars and their drums and their bass and all that stuff as well on Melancholy and the Infinite Sadness. That's a great album that just like brings me back to my teenage years. And hearing songs like this from the Shins brings me back to my early 20s because they just keep every album they release is good. I've never heard anyone complain that a Shins album doesn't live up or that it's
Okay.
horrible. You'll never hear that. Everyone always, all their albums are hits.
All right. So I guess that's the end of the album. Greg, what did you give the album?
Well, I gave him 2 10s. I gave him, what was it, 8 9 or 7 9s, a 7 and an 8. So I mean, it's pretty high. It's well above 9. Doing the math quickly, I'm gonna go 9.25, I guess.
That's pretty good. I gave
Yeah.
it.
Oh, you know what? 9.5. It did as well as Overkill for sure.
Okay, I gave this an 8.2. I would say this has it's a classic of its genre. It's not like for me the greatest thing ever, but as I listen to more of this music, I can see myself starting to get into this more kind of over time.
Oh, you do yourself a favor, dude. Go back and listen to the
when I was
early
reviewing
Shins
this
albums.
album, right? Like the last song ended, and the first song of the album before they started, and it already sounded good and got me like this curiosity to go in. And I look forward to at some point, like popping on a few of these older albums and checking it out.
Oh, I'd be happy to link you some of my favorites.
Fair enough, man. So I think that's it, man. This was a good episode. I'm very excited that I got to discover such awesome music.
Oh, and next week on Rock and Beard Pod, you guys are so lucky. Oh my God, we're gonna be reviewing Steel Panther: Lower the Bar.
That sounds very exciting, and hopefully it doesn't get delayed again because that's already happened once. In which case, contingency plan will be revealed then. On that note, we'll catch you next Wednesday.
Follow
Please
us on Twitter. Links in the
like,
description.
comment, share, and stuff.
We
And,
appreciate all the feedback we've gotten so far, and we always try and interact with anyone who comments or whatever.
We're always down to get better, and if you tell us how we can do that, it just expedites the process.
And if you want to just message us on Twitter or YouTube to leave a
say
comment, just say hello. Yeah.
All right, have a great week, folks.
Yeah. See you next Wednesday.